Relationships. They occupy most of our existence. We have multitudes of relationships. We don't think about it, we just have them. So here's a challenging thought for you. All of your relationships are based upon a form of trust and way of being. So here's a phrase: am I being the way I want you to be? In other words, your behavior, your way of being in the world, and the way you interact with all of the relationships that you have to do with the way you treat or touch or speak or involve other people. Am I being the way I want you to be? It's a good question. Think about it. So, in other words, when you start a new relationship of any form, the way you behave in the first short while actually sets the parameters, the structure, the form, and the way that you're going to be with each other. Most people say, well, he's just my buddy. Well, what is just your buddy? And how are you going to treat your best friend or your close friend or your buddy or your best mate, depending upon which country you use or colloquialism that you have in mind? What I really want to talk about, though, is our, shall we say, primary relationships and then the ones that we create. Our primary relationships are from our parents. We learn by absorbing and observing how to fit in the family and how relationships work. We take that information, usually before 5 or 6, we've set up in our brains a blueprint of what a relationship is. Of course, when we get to 10, it's slightly different. When we get to, say, 15, and perhaps we start our first romantic relationship, we start learning what the current reality of relationships are versus what we learned in history 15 years ago. In other words, how were your parents 15 years ago, and how has that affected you, and what does that have to do with the relationship you're having now? Everything. In fact, over time, we have to learn and relearn about relationships. Now, I used a phrase, am I being the way I want you to be? Let's make an assumption for a moment that your early romantic relationship sort of develops, it becomes a sexual relationship, it becomes deeper, and then, like many early relationships, sort of just falls away or ends either well or dramatically or even traumatically. Now, that's your second phase of learning about relationships. So what you learned in that is how you were treated. That's what the human ego and the human mind looks at. How was I treated? I won't put up with that again, or it will be different next time. I've heard many of those different reflections and phrases working with people over many years. This new relationship will be different. Well, here's the point. You actually, when you get into a new relationship, you train the other person by your behavior to treat you a certain way. So if you are shall we say, a victim of your last relationship, the person in the new relationship will learn about what you don't like, but they won't necessarily learn what you actually like. So you're not sort of showing them or training them to treat you the way you like to be treated, to be loved the way you like to be loved, or the way that you prefer to be in lovemaking. So you get around to training them based on your last learning. Wow, so then it repeats. And perhaps it works further and further and it survives because you genuinely want to love and respect this person. When I say, am I being the way I want you to be? Think about that for a moment. Am I being? So am I being loving and generous and open and conversational? Because the way I am being sets the signals and the interpretations for your partner. They learn from you how you wish to be treated. Of course, that's a bit of a shock because, the expectation is set by Hollywood, by TV, by love stories, is that the person that is in love with you knows you deeply to the core and loves you completely. Well, I hate to tell you, but that's real bullshit, and it's dangerous. Here's the truth. We are all good, bad, ugly, indifferent, wonderful, and amazing. We're all those things. And your partner doesn't know all those things about you. So it's not about hiding the things that you don't want. It's about showing and behaving the way that you want to be treated. You're training your partner. You're involving your partner. You're developing a deep intimacy with your partner based upon the way you want to be. They'll learn from you that if you like flowers on Saturday and you buy flowers for somebody on Saturday, they'll get the hint. It's not that it is manipulative, it's just they don't know you when you first fall in love. They might know you from the time that you fell in love. Let's say it was last Saturday, you fell in love, and over the coming days, the relationship deepens, it becomes sexually intimate, and you start exploring and finding out what you love about each other and how you like to make love. So, in a way, unless you are sort of different and take a different point of view and saying, well, I demand that you know me now, rather than saying, hey, I'm curious about this person. I am willing to show them how I am in the world, what I like. There are some wonderful sort of examples of this over time. But you see, here's the thing. This is not only true about your prime sort of your marriage or your romantic relationship. It's also true about your friends. If your friends don't know you, they assume that you like what they like. Well, what if you don't like what they like, but you like them? My best buddy is brilliant at doing social. He is an amazing impact on communities. He likes to give and talk and visit and travel. And me, I admire that. But I'm a bit more reclusive. I'm not outgoing that way. I'm quiet. I like to observe. I like to engage in deeper conversations. But he's wonderful. I like him for that. Over time, over the 15, 16 years that we've been friends, we've learned about how we are with each other. So he knows not to invite me to a big, raucous party, and I know that I will invite him to maybe a dinner where we'll sit and have conversations or friends. So over time, we've gotten to know each other, what our likes and dislikes. But that only happens if I am being the way I want you to be, or I am willing to show up fully in the relationship and let them see me, see my likes and dislikes, my good, the bad, and the ugly, and the amazing and incredible person that we all are. So, relationships, am I being the way I want you to be? It's the biggest trap going. One of the things about it is that, I've heard people say, well, I didn't know that she was like this and really like that. I didn't know. Well, why didn't he know? Was it his job to guess? No. It's the reason he didn't know is that it was never revealed to him or to her, and so in not revealing it, he didn't know the likes or dislikes of his future partner. One of the biggest challenges is that when we first meet a romantic partner, we fall in love with our own projected image of them. It's not real, it is just natural and human. We project onto somebody, oh, this is the one, but he's not the one, or she's not the one. What they are is they represent many of the things that you like, but they're not all the things, and they are more than that. But the challenge is as you get into the relationship, if you're shy about showing up and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and say, hey, I don't like that, or I like that, or would you be this way? There's a great movie out there. It's an old one. I really enjoyed it. It's called Friends with Benefits, about two people, male, female, who decide to have benefits, which is sexual favors and being friends with each other. Their surprise, of course, is that as they show up with each other saying, I like this, but I don't like that. If you don't do this, I won't do that. They set the parameters for being with another person by showing up and talking about who they are and what they like and what they don't like. They display vulnerability rather than invincibility. Unfortunately, most men, especially young men, are trained to sort of be tough, the rugged individualist, the invincibility, I am strong, I'm going to conquer the world, especially in this competitive business world and competitive world. Men are still in that trap of performing rather than being themselves. Although the younger generation I love because they are not so entranced by it as I was, because that's where I learned about this. Because I was just invincible, or showing off the rugged individualist. I can do this. Now, on the other side of it, the feminine experience was still difficult for me to talk about because obviously I'm not a woman. However, I have listened to lots of women in lots of workshops and in lots of service to them, coaching and other, to listen to them and understand that they also fight the image of the perfect woman, the intelligent businesswoman, the intelligent but feeling woman, the sexy, slim body. Because most of the things that we try to live up to are created by marketing gurus that pick at our wishes and aspirations versus what is reality. And they project, if you use this on your skin, you will still look like a 20-year-old even though you're 70. But they do it early and often to both sexes. Both sexes today are constantly bombarded with stories and marketing and advertising that shows a more perfect human being rather than a real human being. So the key in relationships is am I? Am I the way I want you to be? And am I showing up? Am I being real with you? Am I what I call a grown-up? I've gone through my own trials and tribulations, and as a result, I have grown up. So, am I being the way I want you to be? It affects every relationship. As most people, when you hear the word relationship, only think about their romantic or love interest or their wife or their husband or their boyfriend or their girlfriend. They narrow it down. I remember an amazing situation that actually happened to me. I used to travel as a lecturer and leader of workshops. And when I say travel, I was out of town, on the road, what we used to call a road warrior, every week. And I had a relationship with my dry cleaner. Now, most people wouldn't think about a relationship with a dry cleaner. You see, I liked him, and I liked the service, and so I told him what I liked with my shirts. I told him what I liked about this, and he told me what he liked, that we used to share and talk about restaurants, because he was, like me, a restaurant freak. He liked food. I am a foodie, I should tell you that. Anyway, I found myself having to go away in an emergency to fill in for another speaker. They asked me, and I said yes, and then I went, oh, my stuff is down at the dry cleaners, because I had my speaking outfit suitcase, which I had packed and kept ready, but everything was down at the dry cleaners. So I went down and I said, I'm going to ask you for a special favor. Can you get my stuff ready so I can leave tomorrow morning? And he looked at his watch. He said, okay, I'll do it. One of my friends later, when I was rating how good this dry cleaners was, he said, how did you get them to do it in 4 hours? I said, well, I have a relationship with the guy. I am being the way I want him to be. I'm polite, I'm courteous, I notice him, I'm authentic, I'm real. I thank him for what he does. He's not just somebody in service to me. I have a relationship with him. He was quiet. He was stunned. And then I realized that most people ignore or don't pay attention to the people that are in service to them. I have a wonderful doctor, and I tell him he does great work. You do great work. You help me a great deal. I have chronic arthritis. Without my specialist and his help and his thoughtfulness, I would be in terrible trouble. So I tell him the truth about where I am. I don't act. I talk about what's working, what isn't working, and then I make sure that I acknowledge and recognize the contribution that he gives in my life. I am being the way I want him to be. And I have amazing relationships. So, what about this? Okay. Am I being the way I want you to be? In other words, I am showing up fully. I am authentic. I'm not putting on airs, graces, or false face. I am just being me. That's quite a lot, really. Most of us are trained not to be you. We see on a movie, or we see in or hear in a conversation, well, you should be like that, or you should be this, or you should be that. And the truth is, we are the way we are. And you might as well show up and be real and be the way you want others to treat you. Am I being the way I want you to be? Take care. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you. Love them, acknowledge them, and always show up.